Hello, welcome to Righteous Forest Pokemon Silver Version Nuzlocke Challenge. This is episode 1. I'm recording the audio for this after doing the video. I'm only going to be doing that for this episode. In future episodes, I'll be recording the audio as I play, but since this episode doesn't even involve me catching any Pokemon, I figured it wouldn't be too heated, so I just record the audio after. Um, I'll have pretty standard rules for this challenge. Um, Only first Pokemon I encounter in an area can be caught. I'm implementing Dupe's Clause, no encounter limit for the entire evolution line. So let's say I get a Spearow. Uh, then if I later encounter a Fearow, it doesn't count towards one of my encounters, even if I haven't involved the Spearow yet. I will be nicknaming all of my Pokemon. I generally do that anyway, and it's a recommended rule for a Nuzlocke challenge. I won't be doing any particular naming theme. I know some people do, but that's not the type of thing I want to do for this particular challenge. Normally, naming themes I choose involve me naming my Pokemon after my friends, especially in Nuzlocke challenges, which makes it all the more painful when I lose them. Which brings me to the final rule, which is, of course, the normal famous Nuzlocke rule of if your Pokemon faints in battle, it effectively dies and you have to release it. I will be implementing a level limit. My initial level limit will be 10, and every time I earn a gym badge, I'll be increasing my level limit by 5. I haven't decided how I will handle the level limit relative to Elite 4, assuming I get that far, but we'll handle that as it comes. And so the reason I chose to play Pokemon Silver is it was the first Pokemon game I ever played. And I had been into Pokemon for years prior to getting the game, but I had never actually gotten around to owning a game. So I am not just a fan of the game, I'm also just a fan of the whole universe in general. I follow the anime. I don't play the card game very much, but every now and then I use the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online app. It's free, it's nice. I used to play the card game, but it is expensive, so once I got to the point where I was too old to have my mother pay for the cards for me anymore, I started not buying them ever. Now, as you see, I just chose Cyndaquil as my starter. I chose my starter through my trainer ID number, taking the last digit of it. If it was 1, 2, or 3, I would choose Chikorita. If it was 4, 5, or 6, Cyndaquil. And 7, 8, or 9 would have resulted in Totodile. If it had been a 0, I would have allowed myself to choose any starter. I'm by no means disappointed with the choice of Cyndaquil. Here I am, deciding on a nickname. Eventually I decided on Velvet. I'm not entirely sure what made me decide that name, but I like it. I don't know if it fits. Not particularly important. Also, the first few routes of Pokemon Silver version, you have to traverse without any Pokeballs, so I've decided that I'm not going to begin counting my encounters for the routes until I obtain my Pokeballs, just because otherwise that's just seems silly and a waste. So, the reason I decided to make this Nuzlocke video is because I've recently been watching a lot of YouTube playthrough videos, and I've become, I guess, really interested in this whole YouTube gaming universe, and took me a while to get started. I did a ton of research on how video game Let's Play videos relate to like fair use copyright issues, and I don't know, I decided I'm just gonna go for it. I really did draw a lot of inspiration from Maryland, who has done lots of Nuzlocke and Wedlock videos and walkthroughs of tons of games. He's the one who got me into Nuzlocks, and I think that his channel, in a sense, has been an inspiration to me to start this. Same with the channel Nate Wants to Battle. I love his personality, think he's a super funny guy, and he has some meaningful messages in his work as well. So that's where I'm coming from. Initially, what I wanted to do was a playthrough of the game Golden Sun, which you may or may not be familiar with. It's a game for the Game Boy Advance. It's one of those cult following games that the people who've played it love it, and the people who haven't played it probably haven't even heard of it. And it's a turn-based RPG, similar in a way to Pokemon, although it's actually quite different, but it also has dungeons with puzzle mechanics similar to the Legend of Zelda series. And it is, aside from Pokemon, my favorite game. In fact, I've always been torn as to whether or not it is my favorite game because of, well, it's just such a great game, but there are only 3 games in the series, so overall I've gotten more enjoyment out of Pokemon simply because it's a more expansive universe, there's more games, it's been with me for longer, games are released at more regular intervals, and so I wanted to begin with that, but I really wanted to present Golden Sun in a way that would introduce new people to it, because I think it's a really great game, and I think anyone who loves really high quality RPGs should give it a shot, and it might get overlooked because it's on the Game Boy Advance, which is, I mean, not a system necessarily known for having the best games, so I want to make it something that I can expose people to, and because of that, I decided to start with Pokemon Silver, and I might do a couple more well-known game playthroughs before I start Golden Sun, simply to try to get more subscribers to the channel, so that when I do start, I can show this thing that I love to a lot of other people, and I think it'll be really fun. Now, I didn't want to do a normal Let's Play video because I feel like Pokemon Silver, in particular, a lot of the older Pokemon games, are already very popular, very well known, and I wanted to make it something that would have at least a little bit of excitement to it that a normal playthrough might not necessarily have, and so a Nuzlocke seemed like a good way to do it. I've done Nuzlockes before. I will say that I have never completed a Nuzlocke, but I've also very seldom failed a Nuzlocke. It's just that normally I have things like coursework, I'm a college student, I have a lot of work I need to do, and other things that distract me from them. Currently the Nuzlocke challenge that I've gotten the farthest in is a Pokemon Y Nuzlocke that I'm working on right now. Just lost my starter Greninja yesterday. That was pretty hard, but my team's pulling through. Anyway, so I felt Nuzlocke, good way to be able to narrate with some personality. I'll probably be directly reading some of the dialogue in the game, but most certainly not all of it, because that's definitely not necessary. I also don't like speeding up the game. I'm playing on an emulator, so that's definitely possible, but I feel like it always creates an emotional disconnect between myself and the game, and I think I would be able to tell a better story the more attached I feel to the character that I'm representing. So I won't be speeding through in any of the videos I record, however, I'll probably be doing any grinding off-screen, so that will be the time where I will speed through, because, let's be honest, grinding's not fun to watch, it's not fun to do. I'm just not gonna subject you to that. Also, I've decided that when grinding, if one of my Pokemon gets over-leveled with my level limit, I'm not going to stop myself from using them, the level limit is only going to apply to trainer battles, and I don't have to release the Pokemon or even necessarily deposit it into the PC if it exceeds the level limit. I will simply not be allowed to send it into battle. I have not decided if I will be doing if I white out, it's a game over and I lose type of thing yet, but I think that will depend on how decent the Pokemon on my PC are at the time. So this is where we stand. Is you've noticed probably at the beginning I named my character Forest. I mean, Righteous Forest, name of my channel. Might as well, killing time, explain that name to you. I currently am taking Chinese as a class at my college, and the Chinese name that I was given roughly literally translates as Righteous Forest, so I decided that would be a fun name to go with. It's not my screen name on anything else, but I just thought it seemed good. And I was lucky when I started recording. I already had almost every program I needed except for the program that I'm using to capture the video of my emulator screen directly off of my computer. And I even had a decent quality headset. And I just realized that... Yeah, okay. Good. It was sort of falling off my head. But, yeah, I have a good quality headset that I bought to use with the Rosetta Stone program. Anyone who hasn't used Rosetta Stone might not know this, but some of the packages come with a headset, and I'll be honest, it's garbage. The speech recognition seemed more luck-based than how carefully I actually pronounced anything, so I bought a better headset, and it's been working well, so I decided to use it for this. So what's happening now is my first battle against my rival. Now, I leveled up Velvet one level because I just wanted to be safe, confident that I would be able to take down my rival, because I wouldn't necessarily start over if I lost, but it's one of those gray areas where, like, oh, I kind of wanted to start with Chikorita, so maybe I'll just let myself lose, but I didn't want to do that. By the way, reason I would want to start with Chikorita, it's considered by some to be the worst starter of the Johto region. I personally think that's Totodile, particularly in Gold and Silver, with no physical water stab. I know I'm probably going to get some hate for that, but I never had any particular attachment to Totodile. But Chikorita was my first Pokemon. I started playing with Pokemon Silver. The starter I chose was Chikorita. And I've always been the person who cares more about playing through and having fun than actually completing and getting Pokemon to level 100. In fact, until Pokemon X, I had never leveled up a Pokemon all the way to level 100. I don't care about having super strong Pokemon. In fact, when I got my used cartridge of Pokemon Silver from one of my friends, it was already completed. Probably used a Game Shark to get every Pokemon and all this, and a bunch of Master Balls to catch anything else, and he told me, it's just like, yeah, it's great, you have everything. I was like, okay, and then started a new game immediately because I didn't want any of that. And I was originally a very bad player. It took me forever just to figure out how to get to Azalea Town, and I don't know how to describe that. But that's how it was, and I'm just revisiting that part of my childhood right now, I guess, with a little more challenging rules. Just keep it interesting. Now, I named my rival Alex, and that's because there's a character in Golden Sun named Alex, and I felt like the rival of Silver, looked kind of like a red palette swap of Alex, who's sort of the weird, unclear motives, not sure if is actually antagonist character of Golden Sun, and I won't spoil too much, but he has a primary blue color scheme, and so I was thinking about names, I had Golden Sun on my mind, and I just decided to go with Alex. Now, I'm about to wrap up the episode because I just have this one going until I say goodbye to Mom, ask her to save my money, and head off on my journey. So, next time, I'll probably just catch my first few Pokemon, maybe do a couple trainer battles, and I think it'll be interesting. Hope I didn't bore you too much with this episode, but I figured I'd get introduction, background stuff out of the way right now. So, uh, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the whole series. I think it'll be a fun ride.